You ever catch yourself holding your breath in yoga? Or maybe 5 seconds in plank feels like way too long? Don't worry, it's not just you. This is day 2 of Start Yoga Here, and by the end of this class, you'll have learned a simple breathing technique that you can incorporate into your yoga practice, as well as how to feel strong and steady in plank in a version that works for you and your body. Let's get started today with some awareness and some breath. So come to just a comfortable seated position that can be cross-legged in Sukhasana, or it can be whatever feels comfortable for you. Legs out, maybe you're sitting on a chair to start, whatever you need. And let's start by placing the hands, palms facing down, just somewhere on your body, and come to a soft gaze in front of you, or close your eyes. And we'll start just by bringing some awareness into the body. Taking a deep breath in. Exhale. Focus on your breath. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. And as you breathe in, bringing awareness to the feelings in your body. Exhale. Let's do 2 more. Exhaling. Feel yourself planted firmly on the mat. And 1 more deep breath in. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And if you haven't had the chance and the opportunity to warm up just yet, you can press pause now and have some time for that. There are quite a few recommendations outlined in our Start Yoga in 7 Days guide, and the link will be in the description if that's something you're interested in. But definitely recommend, even if you've already warmed up, maybe just taking a couple moments to just do a couple wrist circles with me. We'll be doing some planks today, not right away, but you can do open and close, little shifts here, just little figure eights, making sure that your wrists are ready for the day. But that'll be in a few moments. We'll get started first, focusing on our breath work. So we'll be focusing on one specific type of pranayama. So pranayama is a part of the yoga practice that means breath work, essentially. There's a variety of different forms of pranayama, and it's often integrated into your classes without you even knowing. So what we kind of just did, our guided breathing, where we're all breathing in with conscious awareness together and exhaling out, that's a form of pranayama. So sometimes when you're in class, your teacher might not necessarily say, we're going to be doing some pranayama right now, but maybe is integrating it throughout the class in general, and that's what a focus and attention on your breath is. There are also classes, whether you go specifically to a breathwork workshop or you have it integrated into your class in general, where you'll have certain types of pranayama that are standalone exercises. And so today we will be working on Ujjayi breath, otherwise known as ocean's breath. And this is something that's integrated a lot into vinyasa classes, into ashtanga classes. Sometimes when you're in a vinyasa class, they'll say, do your Ujjayi breathing, or if you've ever been in a yoga class and you've heard the audible like exhales, that is typically what people are doing. And it might sound a little bit weird. I always say it's giving Darth Vader in terms of the sound, but let's try and practice that together today. It's a little bit of a strange sensation. So you're sitting down here and we'll try together. And we're going to take a deep breath in through our nose. Hold it there. And in 2 seconds, we're gonna exhale like we're trying to fog up a windshield. So exhale. Let's try that one more time. Deep breath in through the nose and fog up your windshield. out the mouth. Now that's kind of the first sensation. You're not in full Ujjayi yet. What we'll try now is you want to feel a slight constriction in the back of your throat. So we're going to still inhale through the nose, and then we'll practice with a constriction in the back of our throat. So you'll start to feel maybe a little bit of flexion, and this is where I say it sounds like it's giving Darth Vader a little bit. So take a deep breath in through your nose. Think of constricting the throat. One more time. Out the mouth. So notice it's not so much of a outward breath, but you still have that sensation. And now Ujjayi breath is done only through the nose. So we're going to try and mimic that same sound and sensation, the throat constriction, because your nose and your throat are connected. And we're going to try and make that same thing just through our nose. So we'll inhale through the nose and exhale with that slight throat constriction through the nose. When you're ready, deep breath in. Hold it here. Exhaling through the nose. Inhale. Sense that like humming sensation. One more time. Deep breath in. Not sure how well the sound is picking up on the microphone, but I'm sure you can feel that the sensation feels a bit different. Sometimes people can get a little bit lightheaded when they're doing Ujjayi breath. So if you ever feel that you're getting that way, please feel free to just do your normal conscious breathing. Deep breath in, deep breath out. You don't need to do the constriction in the back of the throat. But if you're ever in a class and someone says that, you'll practice your Ujjayi there. So it helps to build some fire in your body and in general in your system. So now that we've done our pranayama, we are going to work on our plank position today. So we have two variations of planks that we'll be working with. We'll work with our modified plank and our traditional full plank here. So I always recommend starting with the modified plank, so that's what we'll start with today. This plank variation is just with your knees down. It's just a little bit of a different variation, and it still really, really helps you to build up the strength in your shoulders. So one of the common things that we see in plank is sinking the hips down, so not lifting them up too much. Lifting the hips up all the way, so you're in like a little bit more of a downward facing dog. And then maybe kind of being back away from the hands a little bit. So we'll start our plank setup here by starting in our tabletop position. So fingertips are gonna spread nice and wide. Feet are, shoulders are about, wrists are shoulders distance apart, fingers spread nice and wide, hips over top of the knees, and we'll start here. The first thing we're going to practice is how we want our upper back to look in a plank. So oftentimes we think of plank as this really, really flat line, but in order to fully engage the entire core, we're actually doing something called protracting or pushing our shoulders down. So we're pressing into the mat, you're pressing out the scapula here, and you can actually start to see that there's a little bit of a dome shape happening in my back. So this is what it looks like neutral. And then on my exhale, I'm protracting the shoulders. So this creates stability through the shoulder girdle. You might look at someone in a plank and be like, oh, but that doesn't look straight. This is actually how we want to practice our planks to make sure that we're engaging our whole body. We think of pushing and doming the upper back. So we'll do this with our plank variation with knees down. So inhale, come forward, trying this together. Here we're trying to come to about 45 degrees with the knees. Knees are rested here. You can always put a blanket underneath the knees here. So see how I'm nice and flat? We're taking a deep breath in. Exhale, doming the shoulders here. Notice how that immediately kind of knits the ribs together and makes you feel like you're engaged. So deep breath in here. Exhale, I want you to stop pressing for a second. All right, deep breath in, pressing away. Notice the difference in your stability. Release it. And then one more time, pressing the floor away from you, fingertips facing the front of the mat. We want our middle fingers facing forward and drop it down, sink back onto the heels. So I'm sure you can already notice that there is a little bit of a difference in that push-pull sensation. We're really pressing the floor away from us. Let's see what that looks like in our full variation of plank. Fingertips are spread nice and wide. Moving forward, we're stepping one foot back into our plank position, pressing the floor away from us, and the second. I'm pressing the floor away, tilting the pelvis down, and I'm engaging my body here. My heels are on top of the balls of my feet as I press, and I'm engaging my core. Squeezing the belly button towards the spine. Take one deep breath in here. Exhale. One more deep breath in. Exhale. Let's do one more. Pressing the floor away, deep breath in. Exhale. Drop the knees down and sink back. So whenever you are trying to really understand how your form is in your plank position, I always recommend starting from a tabletop position. Find your balance and then just step straight back. The biggest thing here is you want to press the floor away from you. It doesn't matter if you can only stay for a little while or if you need to drop a knee. You can go back and forth between dropping one knee and switching back and forth because you're working on building the strength to be able to hold the full plank variation. Either way, this is your practice. So do what works for your body. Some days you're going to want to be in a full plank. Some days you're going to want to have your knees down. And it's really going to be dependent on your energy. Let's practice this, trying to incorporate some of that Ujjayi breath that we did a little bit earlier. And we are going to work on this by flowing through a little bit of a mini flow with what we learned earlier today. So let's get started just in a forward fold. Hanging forward here, tucking the chin towards the chest. Let's inhale to a flat back. And remember, Ujjayi is through the nose. Exhale. Lower down. Inhale, halfway lift. Inhaling through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Step both feet back. Plank position, either knees down or knees up, pressing the floor away. Deep breath in. Hold it here for the exhale. One more deep breath in here. And for the exhale, pressing into the mat, pressing yourself back into your downward facing dog. 2 breaths here, adjusting your down dog, maybe bending one knee and then the other. Deep breath in. Let's inhale, roll it forward to plank. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale, drop the knees. And sink back into a child's pose. The knees can be a little bit wider than your mat. And then when you're ready, sitting up into a comfortable seated position and closing the eyes. Deep breath in. Exhale, notice how it feels in your body. Deep breath in. Exhale. One more here. Breathing all the way in, and we're not using our Ujjayi here. Just exhale, but open the mouth. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.